Alrighty, I'm going to do a quick run through on the Resolve editing, I guess, from ingest to grading. Let's do it that way. So here we go. I have used the Mighty Fine Offshoot Pro application from the team at Hedge to back up my cards. Connect to this folder and let's jump to Resolve. I'm going to make a new project, and this one can be set to multiple users. I'll just call it demo. Don't sync media and don't allow remote cameras. You can do this all within the Resolve Cloud projects, including the proxies and original transfers. But on this occasion, I'm going to use Lucid Link, which just gives me a bit more freedom to use it as a disk. I can jump into here, and within my project, I can go grab drive one here, and I'm just going to chuck that straight into the project and update my frame rate. That's fine. Now, you can see all my cards have come across. So all of the bins, all the cards, everything is there and ready to go. But before I start working, I'm going to set a few things. So I'm going to might do half res proxies. I'm going to do the H.264 just to make this extra quick. And I'm going to set my location here. So let me actually point this to this Resolve demo folder. So that's on a Lucid Link drive. And so I'll just hit save here. The other thing I might want to do at this stage is have a look through the media. Let's just assume that I'm on location in Barbados or somewhere nice. And yeah, so I can go through and look at the media. I'm actually going to enable my color management as well. Let's do that. And here we go. So all my color management is applied. And now I can actually select all of these cards. And if I don't want to add any other information into them, I can just kind of move straight along. But what I might actually do here is to help with the conform options. If I run into some sort of issue, I'm going to go into here and under general options, so just using real names, I'm actually going to use the source clip file name and I'll hit save. Now you can see it's getting a real name here from the file name. And then if I want to, I can actually make that use the card name. So I'm going to just go and say to update the clip attributes, and I'm going to override that to say meaningful folder name. So it's going to get the card names from the folder. So now you can see they've all got their real names actually from the card name. That means that they're going to follow the clip through the whole life cycle. So even if I take these media files into a new project or move them into new bins, they'll retain that. And the reason why, because of the order I've done it, is actually saved these into user-defined card names. So now, yeah, if I move those around, those real names will follow them around with me. Now, I can actually just go into here and at this point go in and say to generate proxy media. And so it's going to start creating proxies from all of these media files. And you can see that will happen very, very, very quickly. And then at that point, I'm going to jump into another machine. There's my project. I'm going to open that up. You can see my user over on the other side has all these bins open. Those bins are all locked with little things saying that I'm using them all. But that's okay. I don't need to use those. I can go in and do my editor bin here. And in my editor bin, I am going to make a new timeline, create a new timeline. And you can see here straight away that I'm able to start grabbing media and working with it. So my proxy media will all be getting downloaded locally to this system. And so I can quite literally just start chucking media into the timeline. So I'm in completely different locations. If I go and say disable proxies, you'll see I've got media offline. That's because I don't have the full res media here. So basically, what we have is a situation where the DIT or someone out on location has duplicated all of the data using an offloading app to back up all of the camera cards. And then those camera cards have been connected to in Resolve in a shared project, and the proxies have started being generated, and those proxies are getting generated to LucidLink. So as soon as that data is on there, I'm actually able to start working with it. So if I go over and sort of work my way through these clips, you can see the proxies for most of these look like they're already all done. So I can assume that the DIT is actually finished. But obviously, if that media was still moving or if the proxies were still getting created, that could go on for a whole day. But that doesn't stop me from starting to work. And then as new media is turning up in my project, I'm able to kind of carry on working with it. So yeah, so let's just grab all of these cards now since it's all there. And I can chuck that into my timeline. And obviously, with the magic of LucidLink happening in the background, it also means that all this data can be instantly used and jumped around to wherever I want, and I can start to edit that. Let's assume the editor is working away, cutting. So I'm going to leave this and leave the editor to do their thing. And I'm going to go back to the other user here. So you can see all these proxies have all been generated. I can hit refresh here and receive any changes. Now, I'm going to take on the position of a colorist in this situation. So, hey, I might actually open this up and say at the finish line, hey, I'm going to start the grade. So that message will go through over there, and I'm going to kick off the grading process. And so the editor can still be working. So you can see the editor actually owns this timeline right now. And that means I can't make changes to it. That doesn't mean I can't look at it. I can also go into the color page. Here I take on the position of the colorist, and so I'm going to just go in and do disable all proxies. So while I'm grading and the editor is still editing, I can just start to work here. And let's try and do something interesting so that we can see that it's happening for everybody. So I'm going to just go and apply that grade to everything. And the editor is still working on that sequence. And so they can be working away. The director might have a look at something with me. This is obviously on all the full res media in this position. And then on the other side, if I jump back to what the editor is in the middle of, they can actually start to receive the updates as well. If they go and hit the refresh, all of those changes have all come through to here. And so even though I'm working on the proxies here, I can see all the changes. Again, the editor doesn't have access to the full res material. So if they were to disable proxies, they have nothing. But as long as they work with the proxies, then all is well. So they can see changes that are happening at my end, and I can see changes happening at their end. So if they go and rework this whole sequence and move that up there, then that is fine. If I go back to my system out in Barbados, then I can also go and receive these updates. So I can go and hit refresh. I get my updated sequence, which you can see there is all up to date. And now within the color grading side, you can actually be grading on the same timeline with multiple colorists. So let's say we broke out the interview out for one person to deal with, and we broke out the rushes or archive for other people to deal with. They can actually do that with no trouble at all. So on my editor side, let's assume the cut is locked, and they're going to help me out with a few little specific grades. Well, they can jump into here. What we should see is each other will be locked. So if I tried to modify the grade on that clip, it wouldn't work. But if I go back to my system that I'm working out on location over here, and you'll see that the other person's on there. So you've got in the edit mode, you have one set of locking, which is based on bins and timelines. And then in the color page, you've got a different set of locking based on actually right down to the clip. So you can be working your way through a timeline, and you could have someone coming behind you and tweaking and changing, updating as they're reviewed with a client. So you could have multiple people working on that at the same time, and then move your process along very quickly. And you can see at no point have I needed to conform or do anything particularly complicated in terms of the media management. The proxies are all there to work with. I can just enable, disable those as and when I need to. And then when it comes to getting all the final full res media, because all the proxies have now copied, if I wanted to, I could go into my media management. I could say to consolidate all of the media and relink and preserve folder structures. And I could point that to a specific location like the Lucid Link drive as well. So I could go into there and browse my way. And I could say, yeah, let's get the full res copying. So full res, and I could go and hit start, and off that would go. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't need to. The other thing, just to show very, very quickly before I go, is we can also be pushing out our monitoring signal to anyone, anywhere. So drop this down, start session. We've got a session code, copy that. As soon as I've accepted that, we've got our monitoring coming out here. Can be moving around and playing back. My client, wherever they might be in the world, could be watching that, and that could be on an iPad, an iPhone, a Vision Pro, laptop, whatever. I hope that was informative, interesting, riveting. But there you go. You get a bit of a taste of the sort of end-to-end workflow. Hopefully, I managed to keep that short enough. See you.